Step into the spectrum where the quiet learn to speak. Where cowards lose their cover and the bold become unique. Black pages birth the light. Every pigment takes its role. If you came here once unseen, this art will make you whole. Welcome to the canvas where excuses come to die. Where ink comes down to timid and colors testify. No shelter in the palette, broken edges forge you whole. This is conversations in color and I am Unfold the Soul. Yeah. And I am Unfold the Soul.
Welcome to Conversations in Color with Unfold the Soul. My name is Ken Williams. Wait for it. I am an artist and a noticer. I'm an artist because I don't know shit about art, but I use Posca paint markers and black Bristol paper. I make a lot of it. And that's what this show's about. The art is the star and the wall makes the call. Every episode, I'm going to make my way to the wall, bring a piece of art forward, and then we're going to chop it up. Let's see what the wall wants to talk about today. Let's go get today's conversation. All right. Today's piece, and by the way, that's all my hand-drawn art back there. Hand-drawn, like with paint markers. I drew all of that. And today's piece is Do What Scares You. You like what I did with that? I do. I can't lie to you. I was like, that shit looks good. I need to make that into a shirt and a sticker. Okay, I'm going to do that after this recording. Anyway, do what scares you, baby. Do what scares you. All I have is my journey, man, and I've been on it for a while. I made a commitment to be my own case study more than 2 decades ago, and so I'm going to share what I know and what I learn and how I negotiate fear, because that shit is real. That shit is real. Do what scares you. So first off, let's get this straight. Everybody waiting for the right time and the right time. They ain't gonna be no time that feels right. You know what I mean? So when I say do what scares you, I mean, let's get to that shit now. Let's get going. Let's stop talking about it and let's get going. So let me start with an amazing transformational benefit. Every time I summon the courage to do what scares me, something opens up that was unexpected. I mean, aside from what I was going after that scared me, something opens up, always does. Like something expansive happens. It just does. And keep in mind, I said, do what scares you, not succeed, not the outcome is what I want. But here's how I negotiate fear. And I'll tell you, like doing this show scares the shit out of me. It really does. And so I'm gonna put some of this in that context. This piece of art, shout out history teachers. This shirt says, I teach history. A study of the bad bitches, pimps, and players from the past. And the piece of art is right up there. But I will tell you, when I created this piece, this is one of my early piece, I've been drawing for a year and 1 month. One of my early pieces, I took a lot of risk. I want my art to see teachers, not see what you endure or been through or sacrifice, all that bullshit. I like to see teacher expertise. And these are my favorite history teachers, right? Here's what I've discovered about doing shit that scares me. It never starts out as something that scares me. It is always something that's tantalizing. It is something tantalizing. And in the context of this space with me, it's a piece. So I know there's nothing out there, and I didn't do this because there was nothing out there. I thought of this, man, and I scratched it out, and it scared me. It scared me to go public, talking about history teachers, studying bad bitches, pimps, and players. It scared me. So the first thing something does, first I'm tantalized. I had this brief thought of the other side of taking the risk, like once you get past all the perceived bad shit, like the reward. So you're there first and you're tantalized. Like I was tantalized by the idea of this, tantalized. I loved it. I would laugh to myself. And then your ego, out to protect you, reality rushes in and you scare the shit out of you. So then the prospect of making this scared the shit out of me. And then what I typically do is I run right away, like gone, like I've. But here's what I discovered. And I know that I bet it's the same with some of you. I run fast. I get out of there. I turn my back on that shit, run. But I don't never run far enough to not see it though. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Like I kept peeking back a little bit, make sure. Even though it scared me, I was just like peeking back to see if it was still there, and that should still be there. And then sometimes you revisit it and feel those good times again, and then you're like, no, I can't do that shit. So that's the first litmus test. If you wake up and it's still there, that shit's still there. That means you didn't run far enough. That means you didn't want to run far enough. See, that's what I know now. If I keep running, but I don't never run till it's out of my sight, that means I want to. That means I got to do it. And then it just becomes a countdown of negotiating, procrastination, and timing, and feeling, and flow, and all the shit. But if it doesn't go away, you're supposed to do it. That's a pretty simple. That's a litmus test of nature. If it's nagging at you, there are pieces up here I've done. I mean, like this one that it just nagged at me, and eventually I did it, and it doesn't matter how it was received. Eventually I did it, and this show, it scares shit out of me every week because not because of knowledge, dude. My brain is insane. My brain is insane. I know this shit. What scares me every week and what tantalizes me is the idea of communicating through a framework of what Myron Golden described as freedom. And he's like one of my virtual mentors. And so he said, when you can talk like you got nothing to gain, nothing to lose, nothing to hide, and nothing to prove, that's freedom. And I heard him say that shit. And that shit would not leave me alone. And so I love my art and I love sharing it with you. I love all of it. The tantalizing part for me is to talk like I got nothing to gain, nothing to lose, nothing to hide, nothing to prove. And I'm saying for me, that's scary as fuck. But it wouldn't leave me alone. And so I took a chance and I've been doing it. And even though each episode I got to get myself back up to like summon the courage, it gets a little easier each time because to summon the courage and just talk like me, like I got nothing to gain, lose, nothing to hide, nothing to prove. It's like I'll never give that back. I can't go back. And so that's how you know if you wake up with it, that means it's something you got to do. And just treat it like your assignment. Don't stand in the mirror and come up with all the reasons why you're not good enough. You woke up this morning. You thought you were good enough. Your job isn't to stand in the mirror and try to ask why he woke you up. Your assignment is to be excited he woke you up. And you just get your shit together and get out there and notice somebody. That tantalized part is important. We don't do shit that scares us just because it scares us. There's something on the other side of it. But anything tantalizing, man, has a price. Otherwise, everybody would do it. Everybody would experience it. When you do something that scares you, that period where you are, like you just jumped out of the plane and you can't even deploy your parachute yet. There's something to that. So if you don't run far away to not notice it, it's something you should do. And I also want to leave you with this. Like, just notice that I've been talking about doing what scares you. And that's it. Like, not that, just do that. Not do it and do it for. In other words, the outcome is the confetti. After I did that first episode, I wouldn't care if there were 1,000 people picketing in front of my house. I'm not saying I would be pleased with that. I'm saying none of it would take away the pride in doing it. And so one of the mistakes, people make is you think doing what scares you. It's about the reward. It isn't. Like that's confetti. That's what I call confetti. When you do things that scare you, that you actually had to summon courage, and I mean something that you had to go after, not a momentary act of heroism or anything like that. Nothing that's a different category. But when you're going after something, when you're doing something that scares you, when you are reaching for something that is just outside your comfort zone, nature has it such that I don't care what the confetti was, $1 million, a job, a relationship, a bauble, something you bought, it doesn't matter what it was. You will remember the journey more fondly, the shit you did, the stuff you went through, those times where you stared at the precipice and you jumped. You will enjoy the spoils. Like, I enjoy the spoils. But I also understand this. The risk taken is the reward. Let me see if I can put that down a little bit. The risk taken is the reward. Not the outcome achieved. That's confetti. You have no control over outcomes. All you have control over is your activation and your action. And that's where you have to take most of your pride. And that's why, if I take this back to education, when a teacher goes get some certification or is on a Zoom call with me, I always ask, are you better for this Zoom call? And look, they always are, because this thing is unreal. Anyway, teacher expertise is not based on ensuring learning, because that's impossible. Because you don't know who's walking up, you don't know their background, you don't know what they've been through, and that doesn't matter. Kids are there for your strongest instruction. You're not there to disqualify kids from your strongest instruction. The risk taken is the reward. So when teachers bolster their resume, when they deepen their credentials, when they go get certified, I celebrate the shit out of that. And then we see its impact of the strongest instruction on kids. And if the impact shows that the expert grew, we can celebrate that too. But it's always about the risk taken, not the outcome. And if you build a muscle for the risk taken, the scariest part of it, you will treat outcomes like confetti. And I'm not going to tell you each time you take risk that you do what scares you. I won't say it gets easier, but there is power in accepting that this is my assignment. And when you just decide, if you read Ruthless Equity, chapter 9, decide, I can do a piece on this one, decide to put all other options to death. You just know. You just know. Everything worth having is just outside your comfort zone. Just outside your comfort zone. And so I'm going to encourage you to do what scares you and tell somebody. Tell somebody what you did. Whether it's so-called worked or not is an afterthought. You want to share that? That's fine. Put it in the chat box below. Go do something. Do something that's been nagging you, that scares you a little bit. It leaves you in a little place of uncertainty. And let's celebrate the risk you took below. This brings us to the end of another episode of Conversations in Color with Unfold the Soul. I'm so glad. If you're a new listener, a new viewer, glad you've arrived. If you've been here, you've picked up somewhere along the way, glad to have you back. If this message serves you, please share it with a few people. And I look forward to the next episode. Look forward to see what the next conversation is going to be. Remember, do something that scares you. Know that nature has it, that something wonderful is going to open up on the other side. And sometimes it's a discovery or a learning. Don't let outcomes decide whether or not you take risk and do things that scare you. You want what's tantalizing on the other side of it. Till the next time we meet, may the bridges I burn light the way, baby.